My name is Phil Lamar, and I will be your host for the first annual Dwayne McDuffie Award for Diversity. We have many of our esteemed panelists and our very esteemed nominees here in the room who you'll get to meet later. But first, let me start by saying I'm glad you're all here today, and I'm glad we're all here for this, because this is something really, really important and really amazing that it's come to this. You know, it's funny, coming up here, I wish I could say something like, Dwayne McDuffie saved my life. Yeah, we were in a foxhole and I cut some shrapnel. Dwayne dragged me 3 clicks on his back, and that's why I'm here today. But that didn't happen. No, Dwayne did not save my life. Although being black in Hollywood can be like being in a foxhole. No, what Dwayne did was he gave my life more meaning by showing me that the funny books I've been buying every Wednesday since time immemorial and the kids shows we both worked on were art, and that they could do more than sell back issues and sugary cereals. He showed me it was possible to create comic book and animation art that was entertaining and worthwhile, smart and funny. Work that reflected the lives of people of color and had a universal appeal. It can be done. You just have to be good. But you have to be good. That's the job. That's the responsibility. Now, I haven't read the bylaws of the Diversity Award, but I'm pretty sure to win this award, you don't have to be black. I mean, you don't have to have an all-gay superhero team, and you don't have to put your foot on the neck of the man in every issue. Although I'm sure it doesn't hurt. But you have to be good. You have to recognize your responsibility as a creator, whatever your background, the responsibility to your readers and to your potential readers, whatever their background. That, to me, is what diversity means. That, to me, is the legacy of Dwayne's work and what this award represents. Right now, I would like to bring up the president of Mad Event Management and executive director of Long Beach Comic Expo, Martha Donato.
Hi everyone, and thanks Phil. So we were just talking about how long it took us to put this together, and I think it took us about 2 years. 2 years. So when I was first approached about doing this, I was immediately hooked, immediately interested. And it was because I liked the group that approached us, liked everyone. And also interested because I've always liked recognition events. I think it's an important part of our culture and what we do. Acknowledge what people have done and like Phil said, done it well. I also think that diversity is a topic that's important to us in this industry. And I don't mean important in the political sense. It's a concept that has long-reaching effects for all of us. And when Charlotte explained to me how important that was to Dwayne, I knew we were going to be the right home for this award. It's in our group that put on these 2 shows in Long Beach, it's really important to us. You know, a female owner of a comic book convention, you know, I think I can fit, right? I can fit in. Okay, thank you. I also am the mom to 3 daughters, so it's a really personally important topic to me. So, you know, our children look up to us, they look to us. My kids are here with me at this show. So they're proud that we're a part of this. And my team on Long Beach, we all have children. And how this award, what this award means to us, and what it meant to Charlotte and to Dwayne. You know, we're all going to carry this mission on every day. It's going to be carried on in the way we do business, the way we live our lives. It's just something that's really important to all of us. And I just want to thank Charlotte for bringing it to us in the first place, for letting us be a part of it. We hope that we made you proud with how we handled it. And it's been a real honor and a privilege to be a part of it and getting to know all of you. And thank you all for coming and being a part of it.
Thank you, Martha. I don't see anybody wearing that dress in my comic book shop. Right now, I would like to bring up the director of the Dwayne McDuffie Award for Diversity, Dwayne's friend Matt Wayne, to talk about the aims of the award, introduce the judges from the committee, and recognize the nominees. Matt Wayne.
And I have trouble speaking before crowds, so I'm looking right at my son right now. This is a really great year to start this award. I don't think there have been as many incredible, groundbreaking comics as there have been in 2014, and I think that's really wonderful. I'm very encouraged by that, and I don't want to do this all day, but I think Dwayne would be encouraged by that as well. And I think diversity is becoming, I think, a core value of nerd culture. And I'm really pleased to witness that because, 25 years ago, that was not the case. And this is the Dwayne McDuffie Award for Diversity. But this award is not about honoring Dwayne. He wouldn't have stood for that. The selection committee had to choose between 5 worthy nominees, and those works and their creators are what we celebrate today. You can tell this is the written portion. Members of the selection committee are in attendance. There's Neo Edmond somewhere. There he is, right in the front. Okay. Writer of novels, graphic novels, and animation. This was all Neo's idea. He went to Charlotte, Dwayne's wife, and Charlotte came to me, and the rest is my own personal heartache. No, it's been a whirlwind. I'm glad that we're doing it. And there was going to be lovely art of the logo and of the nominees here. And their works, and we couldn't get the media stuff to work, so that just means I think we're going to have to do this again next year. And I would like to thank the Long Beach Expo, Martha Donato and Phil Lawrence, and they jumped at Neo's idea. And the PR people, Anna Maria White and David Hyde, they did an admirable job of publicizing this. I'm very pleased. Yeah. Back to the committee. Glenn Murakami is right there. I keep looking in the back. Nobody's sitting with my son. And he's the producer, supervising director of Teen Titans and other DC animated properties. He was Dwayne's good friend and his collaborator on Ben 10 Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. If you guys want to clap for that, I won't stop. William Watkins is right behind him. Will is a screenwriter and comics editor, and he also has the distinction of having managed and then owned Chicago's first African-American-owned comic store. And he's a cool guy. Eugene's son, I think, is sick and not here. He said maybe, but I don't see him here. So we'll skip him. No, he's a comics and animation writer. He's a story editor on Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers Assemble, and Dwayne's close friend. And he and I conspired to get Dwayne and Charlotte together, and we briefly considered a career of matchmaking after that. But, you know, we only did it once. So. And then on to the selection committee who can't be here, Joan Hilty, who has served as a Nickelodeon comics editor, former senior editor, Vertigo, creator of Bitter Girl. I know you guys are waiting for that thing to go tumbling off of here. You don't like that? Yeah, this thing's really dope. That's actually, Glenn Murakami and I put long hours into the award and the logo, and I think it came out fantastic, and we should do it. Back to what I was saying, though. Joan Hilty was the creator of Bitter Girl. Heidi McDonald was another selector. She's the editor-in-chief of The Beat. She's a former DC editor, and she's as enthusiastic and knowledgeable a comics person as you'll ever meet. And Joseph Illidge is one of the selection committee. I met him as an intern at Milestone. And he has since gone on to edit the Batman titles. He's a columnist at Comic Book Resources, and he's a writer at First Second Books. He's not here, but they'll hear about it if we don't clap. Len Wein had planned to attend. He was on the selection committee, and he sends his regards. He's still recuperating from surgery, and he's doing very well. And I wrote a joke here. He only possesses an average healing factor for a human. And his credits, Wolverine, Swamp Thing, New X-Men, you can Google him. Okay. And in choosing these guys, I went for people whose judgment I knew Dwayne respected and who would email me back. Quantifying diversity can be very subjective, but I think the committee did a terrific job boiling it down to these 5 excellent groundbreaking comics. And now on to the nominees. Hex 11 by Lisa K. Weber and Kelly Sue Milano. It's the story of Eleanor, a witch living in a world where magic divides people into classes. Eleanor comes into her own using intellect and ingenuity and without a skin-tight bodysuit or high heels. Very good. MFK by Nyla Magruder. I knew I was going to do that. In MFK, Abby lives in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world peopled with a broad array of characters, and on her way to bring her mother's ashes home, she ends up defending a small town from predatory bandits. They're called rogues. It's an impressive webcomic, made more impressive because it's produced, writing and art by one woman. Yeah! Ms. Marvel by G. Willow Wilson and Adrian Alfona. It's an established white heroine reimagined as a female Muslim character, and it's written by a female Muslim writer. And the story and art are nothing short of exquisite, and it's a mainstream superhero title, finding a large mainstream audience with that kind of a character, and it's purely amazing. Now, 2 more. Okay, The Shadow Hero by Jean Yang and Sunny Liu. I should respect the rhythm that I set. The Green Turtle is theoretically the first Asian comic book hero from the early 1940s, theoretically. He was created by Chu Hing, a Chinese American, and Jean, a Chinese American himself, weaves this funny, inspiring tale. And congratulations to Jean Yang. He recently landed writing duties on Superman monthly. I think that's good for all of us. Shaft by David F. Walker and Bill Passemble. We see the corrupt world of professional boxing through the eyes of a young John Shaft. The film icon is given a depth that makes him human, and that the blaxploitation hero created by a white man is now being written by an African American man. It can't be ignored. And Dennis Cowan, of course, did a kick-ass cover. And I think that those are all the nominees, and that is all I have to say. Although that's all I got to do. Thank y'all very much.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Wayne. The man who has been doing the heavy lifting on this. I mean, I think he basically did everything except, like, hew this out of crystal himself. By the way, isn't this beautiful? Yeah. And heavy, too, just like an Oscar. Coming to the stage. Now it's Def Comedy Jam all of a sudden. But it's deaf female and male and it's diverse comedy jam. Can we do a verse comedy jam? It's just like Def Comedy Jam, but not funny. No, kidding. You can be funny without hurting people's feelings. Watch. Right now, I'd like to bring up an accomplished artist, one of the founders of Milestone Media, formerly senior president of animation for BET, and producer of the animated series that I'm particularly fond of, Static Shock, also the Boondocks and the Black Panther series. Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Cowan.
Thanks, man. Dwayne McDuffie. They would like me to speak on our experiences doing Deathlock. You know, when I met Dwayne, I met him through being assigned this book called Deathlock at Marvel Comics. Dwayne McDuffie and Gregory Wright were the writers on the book. And they'd also written the book before I even got there, so it was like they were working with Jackson Geis and all these people, and they were doing the miniseries, and I was called in, and then I meet Dwayne. He walks in, I literally remember him walking in the room, being this tall. And I'm just like, it's this dude, you know? First of all, I didn't know any other black writers other than Jim Owsley, so that was it. So then Dwayne walks in, and we got that. And him and I immediately connected pretty quickly. We just bonded. Greg Wright was part of the team, and it was great work with him. But it was really a lot about Dwayne and I, and what he wanted to do and what we wanted to do. In a way, the themes that we explored in Deathlock. I mean, the first story we did was called "The Souls of Cyberfolk," and that was Dwayne, because I was like, nobody gonna be checking out no W.E.B. Du Bois stuff in no comic book. I don't know what we're doing, but all right. And Dwayne was like, serious, true story. Dwayne was like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. In fact, it's better that we call it The Soul of Cyberfolk. I'm like, all right, bet, I'm down. Because where you go, you're my man, I'm gonna follow. Turns out he was totally correct. And that's when I figured out he was one of the bravest people I ever met. Because we weren't doing anything we were doing mainstream comics, but with Deathlock, what we ended up doing was just writing about and drawing the stuff we really wanted to talk about in that genre, and just doing it right at Marvel with, you know, the Jim Shooters and the Tom DeFalcos and all the people working there, whatever was going on, didn't matter. We were just gonna do our thing and just do it. In a way, we were incredibly naive. Really just innocent and young, and we didn't know nothing. We didn't know enough not to do it. You know, because just do it, just did it. So we do that, and I don't know. I mean, the critical reception of the book was good. You know, people really seem to enjoy it. It seems to be one of those series. But my personal satisfaction and all the things I got out of working with Dwayne and Greg and that whole experience is really what led directly to Milestone. All those themes, all those things we did, you can almost consider Deathlock the first Milestone book. because it really was. Same people, same elements, and we just took those themes and transferred them over. So it was an incredible experience. That is the best kid and the best Superman thing. You know, that was a great experience, but what I like to say is this, you know, I wonder what, one, you know, somebody said to me right before I got on stage, like, only thing missing is Dwayne. If he was here, it would be the bomb, right? And then I thought, that made me think, well, what would Dwayne think about? What would he really think about this? What would he really think about what's going on in comics now? How would he feel about people using some of his ideas and doing other stuff with it, and then presenting it like it was new? He wouldn't like that at all. He would not be with that. He'd be like, yo, I'm doing that. It's some bullshit, Dennis. I'm like, yes, sir. How would he feel about a diversity push? Diversity is the word, right? That's what we're all here, this diversity. How would he feel about the award being a diversity award and it's diversity in Hollywood? Well, Dwayne, it's impossible to know what he would really do. But I can make a guess how he would think about it. The first thing he would say is, good. All this diversity stuff is good. He'd be like nodding and stuff and walking along, thinking it was great, looking at diverse landscape and saying it's good. And then the next breath he'd say, we'll see if this all works out. We'll see what Hollywood does with this diversity stuff, right? Well, we'll just wait and see, you know, because people talk a lot of stuff, but we'll see. And then the third thing he would do is he would make it his mission, as it always had been, to really make it work, to really do it, and to really work with all the writers and all the people who share their same vision, help him out as much as they can, as much as he could. Have them at milestone, if it was, you know, if he was doing it, whatever it was, he would push to make sure that the best possible people were spreading that message, as cynical as he might feel about it. And that's why he was so great. That's it. That's my little story about my brother. So, you know, all the people who are nominated for this award, and you know, whether you win or whatever it is, got an awesome responsibility. I know what Dwayne would say to you guys, and you know what Dwayne would say to you guys, and you know what you have to do from now on. That's it. Go do it.
Kung Fu Master Dennis Scott. In a minute, we're going to hear from our nominees. So get your stuff together. I'm going to give you a minute. But before we do, I'd just like to read a couple of statements, one from a member of the selection committee who couldn't be here, Joan Hilty. Joan wanted us to know, accomplishment at Dwayne McDuffie's level comes down to a blend of identity, quality, and intention. Creating work that articulates underrepresented identity. Doing it with consistent and ever-increasing high quality, and doing it with clear, hugely ambitious intention. The first finalists for this award are consistently committed to exemplary and exemplary at exploring difficult, complex issues of racial, religious, and cultural identity through the universally understandable medium of comics. The quality demonstrated among the talent, both raw and refined, is absolutely staggering. And the ambition resonated throughout the work of all the nominees. In their hands, difference becomes iconic. Whether it's the color of one's skin, the texture of one's culture, or the illuminating light of one's faith. And one of our nominees who couldn't be here today, Gene Yang, writer of Shadow Hero, sent a statement. And his statement was simply that Dwayne McDuffie was a real-life superhero. I've loved his stories since I was a kid. Now, I'm sharing those same stories with my own kids. Sonny and I are deeply grateful to be connected with his legacy in some small way. And now, I'd like to bring up our first present nominee, nominated for MFK. Please welcome Nyla Magruder.
Thank you. No one told me what I'm supposed to talk about. Okay, so I'll keep this brief. I don't know. I grew up on Static Shock and Justice League, and this was even before I knew who Dwayne McDuffie was. Like even before I knew his name, he was influencing me. And so you heard a bit about my webcomic, and I just like to say it's exciting to me that this committee decided to acknowledge a webcomic, in its first year. There's such an incredible diversity and variety within the webcomics community, and that's why I wanted to be a part of it, even before I was consciously thinking, how about I try comics? I knew I wanted to produce a webcomic, just because I love the potential, and I love the idea of just having a free webcomic that anyone could access at any time. And so, thank you for picking a webcomic for this honor and recognizing just the breadth of diversity within the webcomic community. Yeah, thanks.
It's your nomination certificate.
Oh, thank you. They didn't tell me about this either.
No. And no, I was supposed to give you guys some background on Nyla before she came up. And she's a storyboard artist and born and raised in Maryland. Had her BA from Hood College and her BFA in computer animation from Ringling College. She's illustrated comics, children's books, film, and commercial television. And her webcomic is available at mfkcomics.com? mfkcomic.com. And it's really fun. It's really good. And now I'd like to bring up Kelly Sue Milano and Lisa K. Weber. Kelly Sue has been published in the Orange County Register. She's written award-winning short stories, monologues, and sketches. And she curates a blog for Awake, a movement dedicated to celebrating female artists. Lisa makes art for comics, kids' books, and cartoons. She's created artwork for comic adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe and Oscar Wilde for graphic classics. And her illustrations and designs have appeared in Penguin Books, Houghton Mifflin, and Scholastic, as well as contributed to storyboards for Nickelodeon, Curious Pictures, and PBS Kids. They both currently live and work in Los Angeles, and they've been nominated for Hex 11. Please welcome Kelly Sue Milano and Lisa K. Weber. Another microphone?
No, we'll just talk at the same time. Well, I mean, just generally, storytelling is just so necessary because it gives validity and relatability to so many different perspectives. The industry of comics is one that has unfortunately long been considered to be an exclusive one. And the fact that it's beginning to change and continuing to change and open up is so wonderful, because I think there's a modern need for storytelling, and comics are such a great platform for that. As a visual medium, comic books offer a universal form of storytelling, and one where diverse voices can and should be honored, which is what Dwayne McDuffie's legacy is all about. And so to know that I am contributing to the continuation of that legacy is an incredible honor. Thank you. Okay, so I've loved comic books ever since I was a very little girl, and because I loved stories and I loved writing. And then as I was going through school and I was, taking classes in television, I met a man at a seminar who told me that I would never get a job in TV because I was a woman, and I was over the age of 25, and I was not Ivy League educated. And it struck me for several obvious reasons. But what really sort of, I guess, affected me the most about it was that the statement to me was how many gorgeous and necessary voices won't be heard because of this displaced idea that governs creative industries and beyond. Women have so much to contribute, not just to our industry, but to the world, as do all of the incredibly talented people that don't fit into industry standards. The spirit of championing these people, it seems to me, is what Dwayne McDuffie not only strove for, but insisted on. And being able to be a part of that effort is profoundly humbling and very, very important to me. Thank you.
So cool. It's really interesting what you said about storytelling, because we are entering an era of our culture where there's less and less storytelling. Like, Angry Birds ain't got no story. You know? Real Housewives doesn't have a story. It has elements of drama, but there's no story, you know? And I think what the work that these nominees are doing and the internet itself is sort of an antidote to what's happening on one end of the culture. This is our chance to keep, you know, Homer and Ovid alive for the generations to come, so that they don't all just, it doesn't become idiocracy. Our next nominee, David F. Walker, is an award-winning journalist, filmmaker, and author of the young adult series, The Adventures of Darius Logan. His publication, Bad As Mofo, that's as with two Z's, became internationally known as a resource guide to black films in the 70s. His work in comics includes the series he's nominated for, Shaft, Doc Savage, and he's currently writing Cyborg for DC Comics. Please welcome David Walker.
I didn't realize there were so many people here. Thanks everyone for being here. I met Dwayne the first time in the late 90s, but I'd known who he was for many years. And, you know, I'd always looked up to him. And then, then you meet him and you have to look up to him, both figuratively and literally. And the interesting thing was that despite his height, he never looked down on anyone. And it was pretty profound, you know, getting to know him. Because the first time I met him, the first thing he said to me was, "Yeah, I already know who you are. Come on, let's walk and talk." And that was our relationship from, I'll say, about 97, 98 on. And, you know, a lot of people, Dennis kind of hit the nail on the head when he said, I can't say what Dwayne would say for sure. I think I know what he would say, right? And I think a lot of us do that now. We're trying to, you know, what would Dwayne say? What would he do? And when the nominees came out for this award, I mean, I was so honored to be nominated. But what was really humbling and exciting was that I heard Dwayne's voice saying, "Now this is a diverse lineup. This is what diversity means. This room is what it means." And so this is diversity with a capital D. And we use that word a lot. Thank you. But we usually use it with a lowercase d, and if it's going to have any meaning, it has to have a capital D. So I just want to thank everybody for just being here and for supporting a cause that is crucial to our future and our development. So thank you very much.
Have I caught us up on time yet? No. All right. Right now, I would like to bring on our keynote speaker, because we are the Lynx. A writer, film director, and producer. A force in Hollywood for 25 years. He served as president of entertainment for BET. He directed House Party and Boomerang, and was producer of Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. Please welcome Mr. Reginald Hudlin.
Hey everybody. How y'all doing? How your mama doing? Guess it's Dwayne. I actually have to write stuff down. I never write stuff down. Karl Marx said, all that is solid melts into air. And put another way, stuff be changing. Remember they're like the Berlin Wall, right? It really looked like it was there to stay, and you get shot if you came near it. And now there's an art display in LA with chunks of it, right? It's just gone, right? And my 10-year-old daughter has only known a black president. She knew that white guys had that job, but maybe they had powdered wigs on. I mean, like, it's just irrelevant to her. And that kind of change is what comes to mind when I think about Dwayne McDuffie. I was a fan of his for a long time, from Souls of Cyberfolk. And one of the nice things about being quasi-famous is that you could call someone you don't know and they'll call you back. So I called Dwayne and he invited me to the Milestone offices. And I got to meet Dwayne, I get to meet Dennis Cowan, who I was also a huge fan of, and all the whole staff and everybody. It was just so cool. And I just thought these guys were doing it, and it was part of a movement, and Spike Lee and doing it in Brooklyn, and Public Enemy, and you just felt this huge cultural shift going on, and Milestone was a big part of it, and a part that really meant a lot to me, because I've been reading comics as long as I could read even before. And, Dwayne told me about getting a call from Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who was a fan of their character Icon. And they're like, this is not the Supreme Court Justice. Call me back. Hello, Supreme Court. Oh my God, it's him. And it's a tribute to Dwayne that he could write a character that I could appeal to someone so ideologically opposed to himself. I mean, that's the strength of his ability. He was a mentor to me in the world of comics. I just liked him. I didn't understand how they worked and how things worked. And he was a mentor to a lot of people. And we'll never know how many people he mentored because of his humility and because of his generosity. I was able to give back to him a little bit because I talked him into moving to LA. He had been forced out of comics. He basically had his back turned on him by the industry. Some people said it was difficult. Some might say he stood up for things that he saw was wrong. So he was living in Tampa with his family and just kind of shut down. And I was just on the phone with him. I was like, you've got to come to LA. Anyone who writes as well as you do, anyone who writes as fast as you do, will always have a job here. And he was like, no, you're moving across the country, he doesn't have a real job. I was like, it's gonna work out. Trust me, I am mainly right all the time. And I was right. Dwayne got a job writing right away in animation. And he never stopped writing until he stopped. And at that point, he had finally pushed back all the haters. there were these kind of marginally successful Black comic book creators who attacked Milestone because they had, actual distribution for their books. And he was very concerned about it, and I was like, I wouldn't be concerned. But I said, look, don't worry. These guys will be forgotten and you will be remembered because you're doing great books. They're out every month on time. And, people saw it. Great product survives and history tells the tale. And I was right about that. It always frustrated me that Dwayne never really got what he deserved in the comic book world, even after his great work in television. There were people who hated me writing Black Panther, but they hated him writing Fantastic Four even more. That's a lot of hate. And he would tell me these incredible ideas he had for when he was writing Justice League, and it was just too much editorial interference, and he never got to write the brilliant stories that he was going to write. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because his work endures, and his influence on the industry endures. That's why we're all in this room. And it's very chic to celebrate Dwayne now. Oh yeah, if only Dwayne were, oh yeah, now you're doing it. And I seen, like Dennis mentioned, there's knockoff of his works popping up everywhere. And that kind of blows my mind that there are people who are ripping off Black creators to tell stories of racial injustice. That's amazing. You don't even ironies. But at the end of the day, look, Dwayne was a certified genius. Yes. Right? He was a brilliant writer. He was a giving friend. He was a loving husband. He was a great brother and a great son. And I think, because we're all guessing what Dwayne would think, that he would be excited by all you guys. Because that's what he did. He supported people. He helped me, he would help you, or he did help you, and he would love the idea of celebrating great work, which is, as you said, what this thing is all about. And giving representation for an audience who has been without those images for way too long, because things be changing. I want to thank Matt, Charlotte, Long Beach Comic-Con for making this happen. And thank you for coming. Yeah.
And you put us 10 minutes ahead. Good job. So, we all thought you were going to go long. Leave half hour for Reggie. He's going to tell Eddie Murphy stories. It's going to be long. Now, we get to the good part. And to help give out the award, I would like to bring up Dwayne's widow and frequent collaborator, a writer and story editor on such animated properties as Ben 10 Omniverse, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Please welcome Ms. Charlotte McDuffie.
So, I don't like to put words in my husband's mouth, and therefore I'm going to read the inscription on the back of the award, which are quotes from Dwayne that sums up the award and sums up his life in a lot of ways. From invisible to inevitable, and his signature, Dwayne McDuffie. So with that in mind, With that in mind, we'd like to present the very first Dwayne McDuffie Award for Diversity in History to Nyla Magruder for MFK. Congratulations, George. I can't help but be up here and point out, there's no way Dwayne could have stood up. I don't mean to detract, but oh my God.
That's a good point.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, this is heavy. Okay, you're gonna have to indulge me for a second because I told my mother I'd take pictures. Oh, you're all such good sports. Oh God, okay, I'm fine. All right, thank you so much. Thank you to the committee, to Matt Wayne, Charlotte, to Neo for even conceiving this. Thank you to Long Beach Comic Expo for hosting. Thank you to the other nominees, to David, Lisa, Kelly Sue, Jean, G. Willa Wilson, everybody for the important work that you do. Again, I'm going to keep it brief. I'm just really excited that this award is going to be given out every year. Every year, a new slate of comics will gain a larger audience. Every year, people who feel lonely and silenced are going to find stories that speak to them. And every year, mainstream media will be reminded that diversity is not a trend, it's reality. It isn't going away, we're not going away. We are not a risk. We are an asset, and the industry will be better for our inclusion. It's really easy to be cynical, but I'm an optimist, and I think the fact that this award exists is a sign that our voices are being heard, and it's getting better. So thank you again. I'm very honored.
That's it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being a part of this. And I want you all to continue to be a part of this. You can come back next year. That'd be great. But more importantly, be a part of this by supporting these artists and other artists like them. So let me just go through and make sure everybody knows the books that were nominated and won. Nyla Magruder's book, is MFK, and that's mfkcomic.com. You can find it there. Kelly Sue and Lisa, Hex 11. It's available here at the show. What's your booth? N2. Yeah. You're at booth N2. G. Willow Wilson has Ms. Marvel. You can find that. It's the lightning bolt, but it's the other Marvel. David Walker's Shaft. There's 6 issues out.
Number 4 comes out next week.
4. 4th issue will be out next week. Gene's book, Shadow Hero. So go out, look for these books, look for these storytellers, support their work. Tell your friends about it. Because that's the most important thing, is that not only that they create the work for us, but that we let them continue to work, that we support their work and work like theirs. I'd like a big round of applause for all the nominees. And a round of applause for you guys for being here, the ground floor at the start of something really, really good. Thank you all for coming. Have a good, enjoy the rest of the expo.